Greetings, programs. This is Wretch, and welcome back to Caverns of the Snow Witch. Now, we killed the Snow Witch, but apparently that is not the end of this game. It looks like we have a lot more to play, guys. I guess killing the Snow Witch might actually be the halfway point, because we got all the way to her. Now we gotta try and get back. And now we have Redmane and Stubbs, I believe their names are. An elf and a dwarf that'll help us out, hopefully. Now we're back here at the brass handle in the shape of a serpent. I was kind of taken aback due to the fact that we still had a lot more game to play, so I went ahead and bookmarked here. And we went back to the full color scheme. So let's roll one die. I remember on 1 or 2 we got poisoned. No! No! Roll a 3 or a 4. Alright, let's see what happens here. Stubb draws the short straw and reaches for the handle, cursing his luck. As soon as he touches it, it comes alive. An asp curls itself around his hand, and before he can shake it off, it sinks its poisonous fangs into his wrist. He falls onto his knees, clutching his wrist with his other hand. Red Swift quickly draws off the poison with his knife. Luckily, the dwarf has a strong constitution, and he soon recovers enough strength to continue. Alright, so we didn't get bit. The dwarf did, but he has a high con, so that's good. Tunnel soon ends at a T-junction. Stepping into the cross passage, you almost bump into a primitive-looking man wearing furs and carrying a large stone club. He's a caveman. You draw your sword and tell Red Swift and Stubb to quickly head down the right-hand tunnel while you deal with said caveman. Now, we fought this guy before, so let's go ahead and fight. All the way. Just lay the smackdown once again. And we don't run away. That's not what we do. He's actually going to hit me there. Ow. That's not nice. Here, take that. And that should do it. And we won. A pouch in the caveman's belt contains a star-shaped metal disc which you decide to put in your backpack. Now, I believe we've gone through this before. Ah, here we are. We're here at the Cthulhu-ish gentleman, and that is a really awesome picture. Alright, the tunnel ends at a door which swings open before you even touch it. You walk into a cavern and are surprised to see Red Swift and Stubb kneeling in submission to a horrible robed creature with an octopus-like head. 2 of its tentacles are wrapped around your friends' heads, and they are trapped by the hypnotic powers of the Brain Slayer. Fun? And I am not wearing an amulet of courage, sadly. The Brain Slayer's disgusting tentacles flail frantically as it concentrates its mental power in an effort to draw you towards it. Unable to resist, you walk in trance towards the hideous creature. You can only watch helplessly as it wraps one of its tentacles around your head. You feel weak and soon black out as the Brain Slayer begins to feed on your brain power. You lose 2 skill points and 6 stamina. Holy crap! We're still alive. You wake to find Red Swift and Stubb lying unconscious on the floor. There is no sign of the Brain Slayer. You groan as you try to sit up. The pain in your head is almost unbearable. Your 2 companions eventually come around. They are obviously suffering too. They explain that the Brain Slayer drew them into the cavern and they were powerless to resist. You examine the chamber and see another door opposite the far wall. There are also 2 clay pots in a recess on the wall, 1 red and 1 gray. Alright, let's go ahead and bookmark. Man, I really wish we had that amulet of courage. I don't know where we could have got it, though. We check the red pot. Find all 3 metal shapes. Achievement unlocked discus. Lying at the bottom of the red pot is a square metal disc which you decide to put in your backpack. Cool. Now, what about the gray pot? Lying at the bottom of the gray pot is an old parchment scroll with unbroken wax seal. If you wish to break the seal and read the scroll, turn to 224. Sure, why not? As soon as you begin reading the scroll, the writing starts to fade. Roll 2 dice. What is our skill right now? Because we have lost skill. We have lost brain power. 9 out of 11. Yay for rolling low. Speed reader. Read the spell on the scroll before it fades away. Before Before the writing fades away, you learn a spell which will protect you against an attack by an air elemental. Spoilers, you gain 1 luck point. You memorize the words Gul Sang Abidar and then decide what to do next. Well, we can go ahead and leave the cavern by the big opposite door. The door opens into yet another tunnel, and you begin to wonder whether you will ever find your way out of the caverns of the Snow Witch. You look at Red Swift and Stub, but they do not appear to be very concerned. The tunnel soon ends at another door, and you notice a dagger sticking out of its oak paneling. It's bookmark time. You can try and pull the dagger out of the door. When you pull the dagger from the door, it suddenly takes on a will of its own. Involuntarily, you start to stab at your own leg with the wild dagger in your hand. You lose 2 stamina points. Okay, well, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to leave that dagger where it lies. Some stuff we can get away with, not this, though. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and open the door. The door opens into another tunnel which leads off into the distance. Stub begins to complain about being tired and hungry, so you decide to sit down and rest. As you still have provisions, you eat 1 yourself and give 1 each to Red Swift and Stub. After resting for half an hour, you set off again, and eventually the tunnel ends at another T-junction. Yay! Ugh. So, left or right? You know what? We're gonna throw caution to the wind here. We're gonna go left. The tunnel suit comes to a dead end. An ornate shield hangs from an iron nail on the end wall. Okay, well this didn't help us with the dagger, but let's go ahead and see if we can try and take the shield. As soon as you touch the shield, a howling wind starts to blow down the tunnel towards you, almost knocking the 3 of you off your feet. Then you see a whirlwind coming down the tunnel, gathering up all the rocks and stones in its path. If the words Gul Sang Ab... Oh, this must be the wind elemental. Taking the shield has unleashed the fury of an air elemental. Unfortunately, you remember the words on the scroll and utter them as the elemental draws near. It disappears as quickly as it appeared, and all is calm again. You sling the shield onto your arm, gaining 1 skill point, nice, and walk together back down the tunnel and past the last junction. And everything's coming up Millhouse. The tunnel ends at another door. An old piece of parchment is pinned on it. There's faded writing on the parchment, but you do not understand the language. Knowing that elves speak many languages, you ask Red Swift to try and read it. As he reads, his eyes widen with terror. You ask him what is wrong, but he refuses to reply. He rips the parchment off the door and tears it into tiny pieces. He turns the door handle and says, "Let's get going. There's no time to lose. Oh, don't hold out on me now there, sir." You and Stub look at each other and shrug your shoulders, deciding simply to obey the troubled Red Swift. The door opens into another tunnel. After walking down it for a few meters, you come to a place where the water is dripping down continuously from stalactites overhead. If you have a shield, turn to 230. Oh. Okay. The water looks harmless enough, but you do not wish to get cold and wet. You place the shield over your head and walk under the gentle waterfall. You throw the shield back for your companions to use, and you are soon on your way again. Wonder what would have happened there. The tunnel runs straight on until it opens into a cavern. The walls are covered with ice, and a large glass globe stands on an ice plinth in the center. Suddenly an orc runs into the cavern from the tunnel opposite, and the globe immediately starts to radiate light. The outline of the face takes shape in the globe, one in which you recognize the Snow Witch. Her encased head starts to laugh, and then you hear her speak. In a chilling voice she says, "Although you have killed me, you have not defeated me. My spirit can still defeat you. Watch carefully." The orc, who is standing by the globe, grips the metal collar around his neck and cries out, gasping for breath. His green face bulges as he desperately tries to stop the collar tightening. His efforts are futile, and he soon falls silently to the floor. The Snow Witch's image sneers contemptuously and says, "I have no use for servants any longer, and I know that 2 of you are still wearing my obedience collars. I will enjoy watching you die next, as a forerunner to the agony I have in store for your impudent warrior friend." You refuse to watch Red Swift and Stub die helplessly, and you rack your brain to think of a way to overcome the spirit of the Snow Witch. Will you try to smash the globe with your sword? Try to run through the cavern into the opposite tunnel, or fire an iron ball from your sling if you have... Oh, we don't have the iron ball in the sling anymore. Crap. Well, let's add a bookmark here. We may want to go back and actually keep ourselves from throwing the ball and sling. Let's try and smash the globe with the sword. Uh-oh. Just before your sword hits the globe, a bolt of white light shoots out, trapping your blade. A searing pain rushes up your arm, and the image of the Snow Witch laughs at your unsuccessful attempt to defeat her. You are unable to release your grip on the handle and drop to your knees as the intensity of the charge increases. You black out and do not wake again. Whoops. So, that was a bad call. So much for Leroy Jenkins. So, we head back down here and see what we can do about trying to run into the opposite tunnel. As you run past the globe, a bolt of white light shoots out from it, hitting you in the back. If your stamina total is 10 or less, turn to 44. Uh-oh. The energy bolt which hits you is too much of a shock for your body to bear. You're knocked to the ground and black out. Alright, well, let's go ahead and use some provisions then and see. Is that really going to take 10 health from me? Holy crap. May have to go back and get the sling. Alright, provision time. There, 13. The energy bolt which hits you gives your system a terrible shock. You're knocked to the ground by its force, and you lose 1 skill point and 4 stamina. We're still alive, though. Still suffering from the effects of the energy bolt, you have to decide quickly what to do next. If you wish to stand up and run on, if you rather try to smash the globe with your sword, we know that is bad sauce. So let's run on. With friends like these, slay the zombie replicas of your friends. Uh-oh. As you try to stand up, the Snow Witch concentrates her powers on Red Swift and Stub. Their metal collars tighten, and they both clutch their throats as if gasping for breath. You struggle to your feet, yelling insults at the Snow Witch, mocking her cowardly way of dealing with defenseless slaves. You challenge her to a combat, of whatever type she wishes. She laughs, saying, "Even though I have beaten you, I enjoy games. I will play." She releases her stranglehold on Red Swift and Stub and falls silent, obviously devising some sort of fiendish contest. Suddenly you hear the sound of shuffling footsteps coming from the tunnel opposite. An elf and a dwarf enter the cavern. They look almost identical to Red Swift and Stub, except that their vacant looks and putrid white flesh indicate that they are both zombies. The Snow Witch tells you to fight them while she invents a game for you to play. The zombies lumber forward and you're forced to fight the terrible replicas of your friends. Fun! Let's add a bookmark here. Now, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to be doing... Oh! Whoops. Wait, hold on one sec, guys. Okay, sorry about that. Computer was going a little bit wonky there. So, let's go ahead and fight the doppelgangers of our friends here. And our skill is at 9. So, this is all about... We should have eaten some more provisions. There's those boxcars. That's what we need. And this is just fighting the dwarf zombie first. Good luck. Oh, I shouldn't have popped that. I should not have popped that. Probably gonna actually lose this. Fight on. Can you guys give me some time for a provision break? Because that would be awesome. And we are fighting someone equal in our skill. I didn't need to slam the table that time. Now we need to be really careful. Okay, that worked out well for us. And that's a draw. One more slice. Got him. Woo. That was hectic. It is time for some provisions. We are running low on provisions. Turkish Delight. Consume 10 of your provisions. Nice. That's a Chronicle of Narnia reference. Alright, we got 3 left. And the Snow Witch looks surprised and displeased by the defeat of her zombies. Suddenly she says, The game we're going to play is called Discs. You will not win, of course, but in the unlikely event that you do, I will give you the chance to escape. I hope you've remembered to bring along your discs. Without them, you lose. We have all the discs. She laughs sadistically at the thought of making up the rules on the spur of the moment. Nevertheless, you must play as directed. If you have any small metal disc, turn to 113. I do. The Snow Witch quickly explains the rules of her game. She tells you to choose a disc and conceal it in your clenched fist. She'll call out a shape. A square beats a circle beats a star, and a star beats a square. If you win, you'll be given a chance to escape. If you lose, you'll die. If you both choose the same shape, you will play again. Your life depends on your next decision, and now you must make your choice. Of course, if you do not possess all 3 discs, your choices will be limited. Well, I'm really glad that we have all of them. Alright, so let's go ahead and conceal the square. A winner is you. Beat the Snow Witch at her own game. Huzzah! The Snow Witch stares at you for a long time before calling out circle. You smile and unfold your clenched fist, revealing the square metal disc. You have outwitted her, and she realizes the consequences. The globe starts to fill with white smoke, and suddenly it shatters. The image of the Snow Witch disappears. Her shrill cry fills the cavern, but she is defeated, and probably until the next time we see her. The 3 of you slap each other's hands in celebration. However, your joy is short-lived as you hear an ominous rumbling. The ground beneath your feet starts to tremble, and huge cracks appear in the ice walls. The roof starts to cave in. Is this the chance to escape that the Snow Witch promised? Test your luck. Now, what's our luck right now, actually? Oh, 9. Okay. I like those odds. Oh, I don't like those odds. Thank you, Mr. Table. We are indeed lucky. By some miracle, you are not hit by the heavy chunks of falling ice. When they finally stop crashing around you, you are surprised to see the welcome sight of blue sky above. The 3 of you waste no time clambering out of the ice cavern, and you find yourselves on the side of a mountain. It is not even snowing, and everything looks tranquil. As you climb down the mountain, you tell your friends about Big Jim's son and the circumstances that led you to enter the caverns of the Snow Witch. You realize that Big Jim would have presumed you were dead, and you decide it's not worth chasing after him to collect your reward for killing the Yeti. Without any further ado, you agree to accompany Red Swift and Stub to Stonebridge. I would like my reward for killing the Yeti. Your journey south is long and arduous, but your determination to leave Icefinger Mountains behind you spurs you on. 2 days after leaving the ice caverns, you reach the River Cock. Yeah, fair enough. The River Cock. 50 miles upriver lies Fang, the town where Baron Sukumovitz's notorious death trap dungeon awaits its challengers each year for the Trial of Champions. However, at this time of year, Fang is unlikely to be more interesting than any river town. You decide against going there and walk downriver to find a bridge or boatman. After walking for half an hour along the bank of the wide, dirty brown river, you see a man asleep aboard a raft moored to the bank. You shout to him and ask him to ferry you across. He tells you to go away and he's too tired to work. Well, fine. If you have 10 gold pieces to offer him, make him change his mind? Or would you rather walk on? I don't know. Well, we do have 10 gold pieces, definitely. Let's go ahead and bookmark this. The boatman jumps up and says, "For 10 gold pieces, I'll ferry you all the way to Fang. Jump aboard." You pay the greedy boatman his money, and he soon ferries you across the river. From the far bank, you set off south across the pagan plain for Stonebridge. You'd not been walking for long when you see dust rising in the distance. Red Swift puts his ear to the ground and says, "Horses or centaurs? I can't tell which." You wish to wait and see who or what is approaching, who would rather lie down in the scrub to hide. No, we just took on the Snow Witch. We don't hide. The thundering noise of galloping hooves grows louder and 4 centaurs come into view. Hi, guys. You don't look friendly. Each one is armed with a bow and quiver arrows. They stop almost at once in a line before you, keen-eyed and ready for any move on your part. Their leader is obviously the one with the ugly blue scar running down his face and chest, and he's also proudly carrying a spear and a shield and wearing a horned helmet. If you wish to offer to pay them to take you to Stonebridge... Well... I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and Add the bookmark. Let's talk to them briefly and see what happens. You ask the centaurs if they saw any monsters during their gallop north across the pagan plain. The leader looks at you sternly and says, "No." Seeing your wounds and bulging backpack, he asks if you've just returned from a treasure hunt. Yes. Ah, okay. I don't want to... no fighting. No more fighting at the moment. I want to see what's going on here. Well, that's definitely something. Okay, Mr. Centaurs. Let's see offer to pay them to take you to Stonebridge. Opening your backpack, you offer the centaurs 10 gold pieces if they'll take you to Stonebridge. Their leader's eyes light up at the sight of the gold, and he realizes that you may be carrying lots more. Oh, well, looks like we're going to have to fight anyway. So I'd rather go ahead and fight where we don't have to give 10 gold. Why do you have to be this guy, Centaur? I guess we could have just, like, waited in the brush. Could we? I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and go back to 104. And let's go ahead and do the 10 gold. And let's lie down in the scrub and hide this time. Lying between the stunted bushes, you listen to the noise of the thundering hooves growing louder. Bending back a branch, you see 4 centaurs gallop by, each armed with a bow and a quiver of arrows. You lie quiet still under the sound of their hoofs fade. When you're certain that they are out of sight, you stand up and continue your journey south. Good call. Marching quickly across the plain, you do not encounter any evil creatures. To the east, you see the forbidding shape of the Firetop Mountain reaching into the sky. Does the Warlock still rule the depths of Firetop Mountain? Stubb asked inquisitively. You're just about to reply when you see somebody walking towards you. You draw your sword, but when the person gets closer, you see that is a little old man carrying a sack over his shoulder. He stops in front of you and says, "Put that sword away. There's no point in killing me. The only thing that I have to offer is information, and that costs money. Pay me 2 gold pieces and you won't regret it." Let's see here. I don't know. You know what? We're going to go ahead and ignore him. We're going to see what happens here. The flatness of the plain becomes monotonous and you forget to keep a constant lookout. That is so going to screw me, isn't it? The reflection of the sun on your armor has attracted a group of flying predators that you do not notice circling above you. They're humanoid in shape with large wings, and they swoop down on their prey to kill them with their sharp claws. There are 4 of these birdmen above you, and one of them suddenly lets out a shrill cry and swoops down to attack you. Let's test luck. Huzzah! We are lucky. You just managed to draw your sword in time to defend yourself against the diving birdman. Birdman! It veers away slightly, but turns to attack again. And now we've got to fight again. Awesome. Fight on. Oh, that is not good. How? He is a very skilled birdman. So we have to really, really hope that he rolls low. Otherwise, we are going to be sliced and diced. Pop him. Oh no! Keep those boxcars to yourself. Ah, still hit. We got 10. One more ought to do it. Oh, pop. Boxcars. Whew, that was tense. The other birdmen who are circling above you fly east after seeing the first birdman killed. Frightened that they might return with a huge flock, you decide to run across the plain. Indeed. The sun is now overhead and you begin to sweat profusely. You become unbearably thirsty and curse the fact that you have not got a water bottle. You finally reach a water hole, but you feel like screaming when you see the body of an ogre lying face down in the water. You wish to drink the water, turn to 301. Rather resist the temptation to drink, turn to 63. I'm not drinking water that a dead ogre's in. We're going to go ahead and resist the temptation. Oh, you do not wish to risk drinking the water. However, your thirst made you wary and you lose 1 stamina point. Great. Well, let's go ahead and go for this. And looks like we are continuing on. I'll tell you what, guys, I am going to go ahead and end the episode here, and we're just going to continue on our journey. Looks like we have more to go. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you liked the episode, go ahead and click like down below, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help, and we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.